Hey guys, Ed Mal here, founder and president of Kyma Boats, and we're going to do another installment in our series of what makes a Kyma. So you guys probably know we built a jet boat, and our goal is really to really build a water sports boat that has no bounds. And one of the things that makes a Kyma is its absolute readiness for any water type that you want to go in. So of course, most water sports boats are normally built for fresh water and lakes. But what makes a Kyma and the Kyma difference is that every Kyma is built for the saltwater environment. So I'm going to walk you through some of the things that really are unique to the Kyma that ensure that if you choose to use your boat in saltwater, or if you live in a saltwater and boat regularly in saltwater, that you'll have years of trouble-free service. Things that ensures a long serviceability in the corrosive environment of saltwater is that we sell every K7 with a salt-ready trailer. So we partnered with Ameritrail, the world's leader in aluminum saltwater trailers, and developed a powder-coated aluminum trailer specifically for the saltwater environment, but also specifically to make sure that your Kyma looks awesome no matter where you go. So pretty new technology, a powder-coated Ameritrail soft channel trailer. It has those great curbside looks that when you pull up, everybody knows that you're in a Kyma, and they're always going to wonder why you're putting that kind of a boat in saltwater, and you can rest assured that your trailer is made for those environments. So one of the things that Ameritrail does is all the hardware is solid stainless steel. Of course, the aluminum trailer with powder coating lasts longer than even uncoated aluminum. We use a torsion axle system, galvanized torsion axles, so there's no springs to rust or corrode or shackles to break. And also we use disc brakes that are dual disc brakes on every wheel, so you have great stopping power whenever you need it. It takes the load off of your vehicle. So Ameritrail, really partnering with them on our trailer specific for saltwater is a great way to add lifelong value to your. Other things that Ameritrail does differently for their saltwater trailers is they use a zinc plated rotor and a positive lubrication hub. That means that you'll have a lot less service over the life of the trailer, and that your brakes and wheel bearings are going to have maximum life in the harshest of environments. Also, every one of our trailers is 100% LED. That's a Ameritrail signature element. Really, their business and Ameritrail's reputation is built on building the best trailers for the saltwater environment, and that's why we partnered with them. As we talk about the Kyma difference and what makes a Kyma, we're talking about the saltwater capability of every one of our boats, and we refuse to build a boat that's not built 100% saltwater capable. So some of the things that we do to make sure that your investment is looking great and staying together for a long time in the harshest of environments is the types of hardware that we choose. All of our hardware is 316 stainless and passivated, so that gives you the maximum life and cosmetic quality for all that hardware. Things like bow eyes, cleats, those kinds of things. They're all the highest quality that we can get, and they're all built to the highest salt standard. Another thing that we do is that every bit of our external fasteners, all of our external fasteners are 100% coated. So there's different qualities of fasteners in the marine industry. You have standard 304 stainless, you have 316 stainless, and then you have coated 316 stainless. And when it comes to saltwater, there's different kinds of performance. One, there's the cosmetic performance, does it stain or rust? And then there's the actual lifetime performance, does it actually hold the parts together for a lifetime? And when we build all of our boats, we always look at the lifetime performance and the cosmetic quality. So anywhere that that you can see a fastener. They're all 100% coated. There's different brands of coatings, but at the end of the day, none of our hardware is going to stain or change color over the life of the boat. That's one of the things we really take pride in. It really takes an extra step of investment and time to go out and find that hardware and make sure it's part of every boat. The readiness of the Kyma, we talk about hardware. I kind of want to just point out the things that are made of 316 stainless and rust and stain free, just so you know where that energy is going and where our efforts are put, and making sure that we build the best boat for saltwater. So things like our cleats and hardware, all 316 and passivated. Our fuel fill is a solid stainless steel 316 fuel fill. Our nav lights, the rub rails, and then through hull fittings like our ballast vents and bilge pumps, all solid 316 and passivated, so that they have the maximum lifetime. Really, they'll last more than the life of the boat, and they'll look great for decades. So that's really a lot of how we build this boat for saltwater. One of the main things on a modern boat that has to be addressed when we're building for saltwater environments is the wiring harness. And there's lots of ways to build a wiring harness, but there are only a few ways that you can really make them work for a lifetime in saltwater. So we use premium materials and premium components and an engineering strategy that's proven to perform, for long-term performance in sensitive electrical environments. So the things that characterize that approach are: one, every inch of our wiring, battery cables, communication wiring, every bit of wiring that's in our boat is made with a tin conductor. And that keeps the oxidation off of the copper and gives you long-term performance in the conductivity of that wire. So signals don't get lost, we don't have electrical noise over time, and the performance of that wiring harness will stay the same over decades. There are a lot of companies that build saltwater boats that don't use tin wiring harnesses, but they're only building boats to last for shorter periods of time. We really build a boat that's a legacy boat. We want this boat to be part of your family's life and legacy, for as long as possible. And that means, especially with modern electronics, that we put the best components and engineering into the wiring harness. Some of the other things that we do in the wiring harness is that our wiring harnesses are 100% terminated. And that means that everything in the boat is connected with a waterproof connector. So whether it's Deutsch or Amp Seal or Delphi, every one of those connectors within the boat is 100% waterproof. And that includes things like the amps, all the stereo connections, the connections on the backs of the speakers, every connection in any high current, including high current grounds, high current power, so battery power, battery grounds, all those elements of the boat that can impact and will impact the performance of the boat over a long period are all made with waterproof connections. And those are all terminated, and basically what that does is that keeps the salt water out of the connection and gives you a lifetime performance on the wiring harness. The performance of the wiring harness is critical to the performance of the boat, and saltwater really makes a demanding environment. So we take every measure possible to maximize the lifetime of that harness and make sure you have trouble-free operation no matter where you use the boat. So guys, as we talk about the saltwater capabilities and the engineering that goes into Kyma that makes a Kyma salt ready, there's so many layers of detail that go into that, that really I want to share it all with you, because we put tons of effort into making sure that every Kyma is salt ready. So of course we talked about the wiring harness, we talked about the hardware, we talked about all those things. Let's talk a little bit now about the driveline, and specifically the American Turbine jet pump. As you guys know, we partnered with American Turbine and developed our jet pump to be insanely durable. So our jet pump is 100% water cooled and water lubricated. That means that below the water line and in the high pressure side of the pump, there are no metal bearings, there are no lubricants to leak, there's no seals to fail. The American turbine pump uses what's called a cutlass bearing, and that's lubricated by the water pressure going through the jet pump. That means that there's nearly an infinite service life of that cutlass bearing. So the bearings that are supporting the pump are actually water lubricated, and you never have to worry about servicing that, other than if it ever does wear out, which typically is in the thousands of hours of use range. The other thing that's very specific about the American turbine pump that makes it salt ready is the pump housing is actually solid cast stainless steel. Why this makes a difference is that most other manufacturers, if not all other jet boat manufacturers, use some kind of a hybrid pump system where there's an aluminum housing and some kind of a wear ring around the impeller to make sure that those tolerances stay tight. The problem with that strategy is that a lot of times, if it's a stainless steel wear ring, the aluminum housing will create a galvanic reaction and corrosion in between the stainless steel wear ring and the housing, and that reaction will actually swell the wear ring down and lock the pump up, and that usually means you're out of service, you're going to have to replace the pump, and a lot of expensive service related expenditures, and definitely time off the water, which is actually the most valuable time that you have. So having a solid cast stainless steel pump body means that that pump body is going to be stable and durable and perform well over the lifetime of the boat. And we're talking decades of abuse in saltwater without having to worry about pump swelling and galvanic reactions that cause problems with other types of jet pumps. So on the jet pump side, we've got you covered. It's an incredible piece of engineering. It's absolutely state-of-the-art, and it's bulletproof. And that's one of the reasons we really feel confident that you're gonna have a lot of service uptime with your Kyma in saltwater. The other thing that we do is, in partnering with Indmar, every Indmar engine is closed cooled. And if you're not familiar with that term, what it means is that there's actually no salt water that gets into the water jackets of the engine. The engine is protected from salt water by using what's called a heat exchanger system. So of course we need water from the raw water source to cool the engine. And in a raw water cooled engine, the raw water just flows through the whole engine, and it brings all kinds of debris with it and corrosive properties when it's a raw water cooled system. With a closed cooling system, the way that it works is that the engine actually has its own closed cooling system, and that has antifreeze in it, all right? And then the way that heat is transferred out back into the environment is through the raw water side. So the jet pump pumps water to a heat exchanger. The heat exchanger pulls heat out of the engine cooling system and ejects that engine heat back out through the exhaust system. And the actual cylinder blocks, cylinder heads, and all the critical components of the engine are never exposed to salt water or any debris that might be in that water. Especially with a jet, you can pick up sand, shells, rocks, all kinds of stuff into the raw water side of the system. The other thing that we do on every Kyma and every Indmar Raptor series engine is that they all come with a standard sea strainer. So if you do happen to get into shells or sand or any kind of debris with our engine, you can clear out the sea strainer and keep going, and it's all tool free. That means that you don't have to go back to the dealer if you happen to get up on a sandbar and pack the sea strainer full of sand. With our boat, you just open up the engine hatch, clear out the sea strainer, put it back together, and you're back on the water without even a delay in your day, really. So it's super convenient. It's there to protect your time on the water. And again, it's all part of our approach to making sure that every Kyma is salt ready. We know that these boats are being used in ways that you can't imagine another wake boat would be used, but we also want to know that there's really a focus on keeping you on the water and getting you home, and making sure that your boat is got the maximum service life in saltwater.